Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're answering the most popular question on the channel. Yes, I'm single, but the more important question is, when are Mumbles and the ducks getting back out to the pond? Huh, pup, it is a beautiful day here today. It's sun shining and blue skies, and I would love to have Mumbles and the ducks out at the pond today. However, we are trying to get goslings this year, and to do that we need Mumbles and Dabbles to stay together. And if you've been following along, you know things are a little bit different on my homestead, where my gander that I got for my goose fell in love with a duck first. And since he loves Dee Dee, the jumbo white pekin, we had to separate all the jumbo white pekins away from Dabbles so he could get interested in Mumbles. Huh, pup, and it has been working. The jumbos are at the end of the chicken run in the hoop coop. We have 5 jumbo white pekins over here. And Mumbles, Dabbles, and the rest of the flock are out at the barn where they can't see them. They still can hear them, so they are talking sometimes. But ever since Dabbles last escaped, they have not seen each other. And that's been over a month, and since then, Mumbles and Dabbles are definitely building a better relationship. Now, since we have a 4-acre homestead here, I can't really move the jumbos far enough away to where I could let Mumbles, Dabbles, and the ducks go out to Mumbles Pond without them hearing them and just wanting to walk over to their gate and trying to get them to come out too. So I really don't think that's going to work, so whenever they go out to the pond, everybody's going to have to get back together. Echo Pup and I are just taking a break in the shade here because it is sunny out today. We are going to be heading out to the pond though to get some more work done on the pond banks, because actually there is a few different things I would like to get lined up to get Mumbles and the ducks back out to her pond. Now the first thing is getting goslings this year, so we want Mumbles and Dabbles together, keeping those eggs fertilized as best as possible so we can try and get some fresh in the incubator, because I don't think the ones we have in there are doing too well. And Mumbles is about halfway through her laying season. She just laid number 19 this morning. Oh, the geyser. Gorgeous. And Mumbles has 4 eggs in Blue's nest right now. I'm hoping we can get a 5th egg, and then I'm going to be moving those into the incubator. I'm going to candle the ones we have in the incubator first, make sure none of those are still growing. But I do have little hope for those right now, so we're probably going to switch them out with fresher eggs. And then I can leave the rest of the eggs that Mumbles is going to lay this season in her nest and see if it can cause her to go broody. Huh, girl? Chasing off Bonnie, huh? Yeah, Mumbles getting something to eat. So that's probably the main reason we don't want Dabbles getting all distracted with Dee Dee and the jumbos before Mumbles has some goslings growing. There's still a chance, so we're going to keep trying. But a close second reason is the banks on the pond aren't completely covered yet. We're trying to get all the open dirt around the pond completely covered up, going into water level, so whenever the ducks get out there and start dabbling, they don't start making a mess with the mud on the banks. Now, you can't stop ducks from dabbling, but you can try and cover up as much dirt as possible with rocks, so whenever they're dabbling, it doesn't stir up the mud. And there's really 2 reasons we don't want them doing that. We don't want them muddying up the water every time they go out there. It would be nice to try and get some clearer water, because since Mumbles Pond is as big as we can make it here on my 4 acres, we are planning on putting fish in there finally. So we want to try and keep some good water quality in there, and we can't have the ducks muddying it up every day. So I'm trying to get the banks covered up so they don't have as much open dirt to play with. And whenever they're dabbling on the bank side, that mud has to come from somewhere, and it's coming off of the banks and it's eroding the banks, and I really don't want those to start sloughing off into the water. We got to try and hold all the banks in place, because the more bank that falls into the water, the shallower the pond gets. Huh, pup, and we're going to be working on some of that today too. Now, I feel like I've been making some good progress on the pond bank, but it is a big DIY project. I'm pretty much the only one working on it. For some of the bigger projects, I'm trying to get my dad's help when he can, but for the most part, it's just me. And Echo Pup, of course. He's always helping here on the homestead and in the gardens. Good boy. But as you can see out there, we have been making some good progress. A lot of the open soil that's touching the water at the bank is covered up. We just have a little bit here on this top side that's very steep that we still have to try and cover. Hey, Bluebird. Ah, you're welcome. I think she moved into my triplex over here. We have a house with 3 holes in it. I think it's divided. But I have been seeing the Bluebird go into every single hole. I usually just see him down by the creek, but we finally got him to move up here. I guess they like the water. Hump up. But we are going to be working on that steep bank on the upper side today, trying to get that covered up over to the willow tree. And that'll pretty much take care of all the banks around the pond that I'm trying to protect. But we also have some shallow shelves out there that I know the ducks are going to be able to reach whenever they're tipping upside down and dabbling with their butts up in the air. So I would like to cover up those couple shallow shelves too. We're trying to cover up as much of that open dirt that the ducks are going to stir up. Oh, there he goes. Going in. You pretty bird. Taking the middle hole. Now yesterday I did take the backhoe down to the vegetable garden because if you're following along on my other channel, we were ripping out some old chicken wire fencing down there and trying to get it replaced. And my plan right now is to reuse that chicken wire fencing and put it on that steep bank. And I'll explain more on how we're going to do that once we get out there. But that brings me to my final reason on why Mumbles and the ducks aren't coming out to the pond yet. And that is fencing. We were trying to get the perimeter of the property all wrapped up here, so whenever Mumbles and the ducks are out at the pond, they're nice and safe. Echo Pup can only do so much to guard them, so we want to try and get them completely fenced in so they're not wandering out, especially over by the collection pond. I know they're going to find that new pond over there and they're going to want to do some playing, and it's right on the property line, so I don't want them just going right down into the field after. And we have been working on the fencing here. We have it completely blocked off from the road, going down the west side of the property behind the homestead, all the way to the corner, down the south side of the property to the pine tree, and then back over to about where the backhoe's sitting. So a lot of the property is protected, and on my Nature at Home channel, we just did a little bit more fencing over there on the nursery. But we still have a big gap right about where the backhoe is over to the greenhouse. And I'd really like to get that closed off before Mumbles and the ducks are out here wandering around too. I'm not only trying to keep the birds in, but I'm also trying to keep Maverick in. I walked the property line with Echo Pup every single morning whenever I was planning out all the gardens in the homestead here, how it was going to look. We would come out, we'd just walk all the way around the entire property, just picturing everything. So Echo Pup never really needed fencing to stay inside. He always knows to stop on the property line. Even if he's chasing a rabbit, he'll just stop and let the rabbit go. And Maverick is my brother's dog, so he's not here as often as Echo Pup, of course, but he also doesn't get the same training. But once we close this gap behind the vegetable garden, we're going to have fencing across the whole east side going back to the road as well. And then only the north road side is going to be open. So we're not going to be fully protected and caged in, but at least we'll be able to mount a proper defense. I'm Pop. So the goals are to get that gap of fencing closed off. We need to get some more banks covered up on the pond and get some shelves covered in gravel. And last but maybe most important, we need to see if we can get some goslings growing in some eggs before we get everybody back together. I'm Pop. So I hope that fully answers your question. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments down below and I might be able to gather a few of them up and do a full question and answer video. I'm Pop. You ready to do some works? We want to get in the boat? Go float? Yeah. Alright, well that was a lot of talking. Let's go out to the pond and do some work. I'm Pop. We gotta get your life vest on. Yeah, you got a little boo-boo on your eye, huh? You were digging, weren't you? Digging your head in those pallets. You pup. Now, I was ripping out some old chicken wire fencing in the vegetable garden here, and I'm hoping this stuff is going to be workable enough I can put it on the bank. I'm going to have to try and straighten it out. But we're going to be putting some staples in it, trying to hold it to the bank. And we're also going to be putting something behind it. But some of it is all smushed and pulled together, because I did have to rip this out of the ground with a backhoe. Had to hook a chain to it and just pull it with the hoe. But I got all the old fencing pulled out, and some of it's not going to be usable. At least not for this project. I do have ideas though, but I need about 30 to 50 feet of this for the pond bank, so we're gonna see if we can pick the straightest pieces. Looks like the garlic's still growing. The onions are doing well. Still looking good. But I'm gonna gather up all the materials and I'll meet you out at Mumbles Pond. Huh, Pop. Come on, Pop. You coming? You loading up with me? Good boy. Oh, we're shoving off already. Hold on, let me get the oar. Poppy. There you go, load up. Oh, you're loading. Hold on, let me help. Poppy, too soon. Okay, now load up. Come on, up. Good boy, good boy. Zeet. Good boy. We got some works to do, Pup. Come on, we're all loaded up. I think I have what we need. Now we got my puppy. Come on, bud. All right, let's get in the water. in the water now. We're over at the bank we're going to be working on today. This is a steep bank over here, and it pretty much goes straight down into the water with the slopey sea. Over there on the corner, it widens out a little bit before the willow, but we're going to try and hold this whole bank in place because you can see it drying out and it's starting to get brittle. And that is not going to last too long. That's going to start falling into the pond. And you can see we already have the plantings up above that line, and the orange daylilies are putting on their buds already. And since we have the plants up there, we're not going to be sloping this any more than it already is. Oh, you trying to get those bugs, pup? It's chasing a bee. But we're going to do an experimental method here, and I got this chicken wire, used chicken wire from the vegetable garden, and we're going to try and landscape staple it with these 6-inch landscape staples to the bank here. I'm going to try and get the bottom on. Hold on. Stop chasing bees, pup. Oh, we're floating away. We're wrecking, pup. But my plan is to staple the bottom of this chicken wire just below water level. And then I left some clumps of hay up here strategically placed on this hillside so I could grab them from the boat. And once we get the bottom of the chicken wire stapled into the bank here, we're going to try and fill in behind that with the hay, covering this whole bank up with hay and then sealing it in with the chicken wire and then stapling across the top to hold it all together. And like I said, this is going to be an experimental method. I'm just trying to get this done with things I have available. Pop. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to try and get it from this rock here over to the black willow tree. And of course we have some more steep bank past that, but we're not too worried about that because that might actually get reshaping. Pup, but this bank is permanent. Good boy. All right, let's try and get over there. I think dinner's already getting started. Oh, you okay? Make sure that bee doesn't attack you, huh? I think I need the anchor. Hold on, pup. Going back. You comfy, pup? You're hanging out so well, buddy. I think you can see what we're going for here now. I'm getting the chicken wire stapled up, and I did the side and the bottom, creating kind of an envelope here. And now we're feeding the hay inside, and I'm kind of covering up all that loose clay that we had. And my idea of doing this is kind of to create a topsoil layer almost. I want to try and keep the ducks from dabbling this mud. So we have the chicken wire here, and their beaks shouldn't really get through the chicken wire. But the water lapping up against the side and the rain falling down on this hill is still going to wash it away through the chicken wire. So my idea here is to create a fibrous layer behind the chicken wire, something natural that's going to stay wet, and it's going to hold that clay together a little bit better than it drying out and becoming brittle. And if the hay stays wet long enough, it can actually germinate some of the seeds inside of it, or I could come back and plug some ground cover through the chicken wire into the wet hay. And I think the wet hay will give it enough of a base there to root down in, and then it can grab hold of that clay layer and start holding everything together with the roots. And honestly, it's looking better than I originally thought. So this is working out pretty well. I just have one section here left to finish off to the rock. I'll get that last clump of hay stuffed in there, and then I'll get everything tightened up even like the rest. Pup, we're almost done, bud. You're doing great. I did have to get the anchor out to try and keep pulling myself into shore, and this definitely does help. I don't think I could just drop the anchor down to the bottom, because then that's going to be a little bit too long, because this area I'm in is about 6 to 8 feet deep. So I don't think I could drop the anchor and have the same leverage as I am throwing it up on land and pull myself in. But that is working out great. Just doing the old Batman special. But all right, I'm going to grab this hay here, stuff it into this, and get it all stapled in, and then I think we can wrap up. Pup. Dinner might be ready by then. And my dad did hop in the backhoe. He's out back moving some dirt. Getting a nice productive evening in. What do you think, Echo Pup? That turned out pretty well. That looks a lot better. Hopefully it works. Now we just have to see if it works. It's supposed to be dry here for about a week, so I probably won't try and plant anything in that face until we get another rain coming. Pup, I know, I'm almost done. We'll head back to shore. But we are getting closer to getting Mumbles and the ducks out here. But that's gonna be all for this one, guys. If you wanna keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button before you leave, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. Good boy.